Hello and welcome to the fourth tutorial in these Photoshop series, and today we'll be showing you how to first make a black and white image, and after that we'll show you how to turn it into a sepia image. Now if you remember the tutorial where we used hue and saturation, we're going to start with that. So to do this, first we're going to go to Image, Adjustments and Hue and Saturation. Click on that, brings you up the Hue and Saturation dialog box. So what we're going to do first is we're going to use this saturation slider here to take all of the colour out of the image. And as you can see, I now have a black and white image. Click OK. It really is as simple and as quick as that to get a black and white image. Now if you remember, we also looked at levels and curves. We're going to use that to add a little bit of punch to this black and white image. At the moment it seems to be nice, but in reality again it's a little bit grey and lacking some of the punch we would like. So we're going to go back to Image again, Adjustments and Curves. The dialog box opens up, and similar to before we're going to drag in at the bottom here just to get the blacks really nice and black, and then just to get those whites nice and crisp again we're going to push up here until we get the effect we want. This is a more subtle adjustment here, but again if we look at the preview box, this is before, this is after. We've got a brighter, punchier image. Click OK. Now if you just wanted a black and white image you could stop right there, but this particular image will suit a sepia overlay quite nicely, as it's an old-fashioned pier here that we've got in the foreground. To do this we're going to make a new layer. So we come down here to this dialog box here that we can see, Layers, and we're going to click on this little button here, and if we hover over it you can see it tells you Create a New Layer. Left click on that once, and as you can see we now have a new layer. Now the way to think of this is it's like a sheet of acetate or clear film laid on top of your background image. Any change we make to this will not affect your background image until we flatten it. So it's a very safe way to make adjustments without directly affecting your background image. So next what we're going to do, here in the colour box here, this sets the foreground colour. If we click on this we can select a nice sort of browny sepia colour from here that we'd like. Click OK. Now we've got that, we can select this tool here, which is the paint bucket, and the important part is make sure this layer is selected. You can see it selected as it's a blue colour. If I click on background you can see that one goes blue, back to layer 1, that one's blue. This is the one we want to put the colour over. So now all I simply have to do is click here anywhere within the image and it goes brown. Now, you may think, oh no, we've lost the image. We haven't, it's still here, safe and sound. Now the next thing we do, this is the clever part, we click here where it says normal on the little drop down arrow, click there, and it gives us all of these different options. Now these are blending options, each one has its own particular effect, and I fully encourage you to play with these. But the one we're going to use today is soft light. This will give a nice mix between the colour in the layer above and the image below. One click on there, bang. You can now see we've got a nice sepia image. Another thing to bear in mind is the opacity box down here. Now with this we can change the amount that shows through. So if I take it down you can see it fading, fading, fading until it's 0, no effect at all. So we can actually, with the layers method, we can adjust this absolutely perfectly so we can get exactly the effect we want. I personally like quite a subtle sepia effect, so I'm going to leave it on about 75% there. There we have it. Now the one thing we have to do if we were going to print this or save it as a JPEG for example, we'd need to flatten it. Now to do that we go to Layer and come down to Flatten Image here. Now once we do this we cannot adjust the opacity anymore, you can't change the blending, so do this when you're finally happy with how you'd like the image to look. And then we click on Flatten Image and there we have it. One file, we can now save this as a JPEG or a TIFF, anyhow we'd like to, it's done. All that remains is to click Save. Well, I hope you enjoy playing around with some black and white and sepia images. Look forward to seeing you next time. Bye for now.